Hey, good morning to those of you out there on the West Coast. Good afternoon to those of you here on the East Coast. We're going to get started in just a second, but I want to make sure the chat and everything's working because I'm not seeing people put their company names and core competency in the chat, and you miss out on a whole big exercise that is networking, right? We've got training, but when you sit there and let other people know you exist, then they can follow up. A really good example is we often have in buyers from the Navy in here. And if you're saying your name and your core competency, then they have a chance to see you. So make sure you put that in. And let me turn my caption off. I want to give you I want to give those of you showing up early and on time a quick tip for success. Just really as a thank you. I really appreciate you showing up early and on time. When you do, it's a thank you to us, but it also allows LinkedIn to push out to other people saying, hey, we're going live. You should join us. So the quick tip for success that I want you to track on, speaking of networking that I just talked about, putting your name and core competency into the chat, is I want you to understand the power of compound networking. You might have heard the term compound interest. If you put $1 in the bank today and every month you put $1 in after 20 years or 30 years, right? The interest that you will make will increase the value of the actual dollars that you put in. And so that's the power of compound investing or compound interest. Compound networking, it's just the effect of doing it over and over again is really powerful. I encourage you to connect with 5 people a day. There's almost, there'll be 100 people live today and almost 200 people who signed up for today's training. You have access to all of them to reach out and make a connection. Hey, let's see if there's a reason for us to connect. But if we're all in the government contracting space, that's already kind of a warm network for you to reach out to. But if you connect with 5 people a day, that ends up being 35 people in a week, 152 people in a month, 1,820 people that you will be connected with after a year, just 1 year, if you're connecting with 5 people a day. And this isn't that hard on LinkedIn. It used to be hard if you had to go to an event or a chamber activity, et cetera. But online, you can go on and find the very type of people you wish you could connect with. It literally can take you 5 or 10 minutes a day. But imagine that effect. Imagine when you post something about your company and your network sees it and somebody gives it a thumbs up. Now their network is seeing it. There's tremendous value in there. We call this social selling when you really look at how all this happens in social media. But it begins with networking or connecting with 5 people a day. That compound networking effect is just going to be massive. And so that's a quick little tip for those of you showing up early and on time. Make sure you connect with at least 5 people in my training. I'll bring the network to you, federal buyers, large primes, people in the industry who help, and small businesses. And you'd be amazed what can happen to your sales activity in your network if you just do this every day. Okay, so let me just lock down, make sure I'm good for the training that I want to get going. Make sure you also just say hi into the chat. Let other people know, even let them know what city and state you're in. That way, maybe you can connect geographically. All right, I wanted to start today's training about, it's around proposal managers, right? And I'm making this case that proposal managers should be paid $500 an hour. And we'll talk about that in a minute. By the way, when I say $500 an hour, I don't mean put them on salary for $1 million a year, right? I mean, treat them like a lawyer and pay them for that hour at what they're worth. But as I was preparing the training, I really went back to this whole story I heard a long time ago in one of the books. I keep forgetting which one it was. I think it's Networking with Millionaires, but don't quote me. But the story is called 3 Feet from Gold. And basically, this old guy had owned a gold mine, and for decades he had been digging and digging in the mine, occasionally getting little nuggets of gold and going and turning it in and selling. He's got some more money and living life decent. But constantly having to go back to that mine and dig. Occasionally throughout the decades, he would hit a small vein and have like a run of luck for a year or two, but really never hit the mother lode they expected and never hit enough where it was really tracking on it. So one day he just decides this is just not worth it. I want to live the remaining years of my life doing something more than just digging in a gold mine. So he sells this gold mine out in the West. He's out in the West Coast of the United States, and he sells this to somebody from New York City. So somebody from the East Coast says, I'm going to go become a gold miner. I'm going to buy a gold mine. And they come out. The first thing they do when they get to the gold mine is realize they don't know anything about digging for gold. They don't know anything about a gold mine. And they just know this guy's story. And so they go and hire a geologist who specializes in gold and understands gold mines, etc. And the gold mine, or the geologist, goes back to the gold mine with this guy, and they're looking around. He does his activity, and what he says is, "Oh, I've seen this 100 times." Right? The gold vein kind of goes this way, and so you feel like that's where it's going to go, and you just keep digging that direction. But what actually happens is when it hits here, then it goes that way, and it kind of goes hidden for a little bit, and then it'll explode. So what I recommend you do is dig this way. And the guy says, okay, and he spends a few months digging in the direction the guy says, and literally he's 3 feet from gold. He digs 3 feet through hard rock and everything, but 3 feet, and he hits a gold mine or a gold vein, and it becomes the mother lode of that mine. And my point is that when you think about proposal managers and AI coming together in this discussion we're going to have today, AI's job is to remove the dirt. I kind of call it the blue collar working of proposal writing, right? The stuff that's pretty predictable. But AI's job is to remove the dirt. A proposal manager, obviously, they're going to be that geologist in this story. They're going to tell you where the gold is. They're going to tell you how to maximize that gold mine, find the mother lode, et cetera. And then they're going to tell you how to maximize the profit from the gold. And that's the whole point of a proposal manager, and paying a proposal manager at that top rate, right? It's why you should pay $500 an hour to proposal managers. And so that's what we're going to cover down on in today. Why you should be paying proposal managers $500 and why they're worth $500 an hour. I'm going to break today's training up into 3 sections. The first section, I really want to dispel some myths around this idea that AI is going to replace proposal managers, right? And spoiler alert, it is not. But I want to talk about some of the misunderstandings people have out there and how we can balance it together. AI is here to stay, but it is not going to replace proposal managers. The second thing I want to talk about are the values that proposal managers bring to government contractors, right? They bring tremendous value. And by the way, when I talk about the proposal managers, I'm not talking about somebody who just has the title. I'm talking about somebody who's got the game, right? So it's one thing to sit there and go out on a basketball court, and it's another thing to be Michael Jordan. And I'm kind of talking about the Michael Jordans or the professional ball players, in this case, the professional proposal managers. They're worth that $500 an hour to government contractors. And then the last thing I'm going to cover down on are major tasks that you should be expecting from a proposal manager who is worth $500 an hour, right? If I'm saying you should pay them $500 an hour, what should you expect them to do for you? And it should not be to shred an RFP in the most basic way, right? That's what an AI will do. So that's what we're going to cover down on. If that makes sense to you, say proposal managers or PM rocks. Proposal managers rock or PM rocks. Let us know we're supporting our local proposal manager. If you don't know who I am, my name is 𝗚𝗢𝗓𝗏. I want to welcome you to my federal sales training. I'm the co-founder of a company called 𝗙𝗥𝗘𝗘 in the Box, and also the founder and president of the 𝗙𝗥𝗘𝗘 Chamber of Commerce that you see down in the bottom left. I spent 20 years as a small business owner in the federal market. And since 2018, I've been teaching people like you that government contracting is not a secret. It's just a process. When we follow a process A to Z, we're going to have repeatable, predictable results. And that's what I want for you. When you have repeatable, predictable results, you can look to 2025 and 2026 and know how much revenue you're going to bring in and know how it's going to come in. That's what my training does for you. And the cool thing about the proposal managers are they can really contribute to that same predictability. If you haven't done so already, do me a favor, subscribe to the Government Contracting Success newsletter that we have. It's the largest government contracting newsletter out there by far. And the reason is because we keep providing good value in there. An example is today I posted a newsletter basically referencing training that I had done a while back. And it's these 7 questions you should be asking at the end of 2024 as you're doing the end of the fiscal year and calendar year planning. So as you go in there, it'll ask questions like, what's my 2025 revenue goal? How's that aligned to my 2024 sales goal? Things like that. But that's today's article, so make sure you check it out. And then obviously subscribe to the newsletter so you hear about more great information we share. The last thing is you see on the right-hand side, if you're looking at my screen, the next training is tomorrow. We do training every single business day, and unless I get tired and go sailing or something. And tomorrow's training is qualifying opportunities and how I do it step by step, right? And so I want to show you, a lot of people, they get stuff into the pipeline. They don't know the process to qualifying that, really deciding, this is worth abandoning, or I really love this, let's chase it. I'm going to show you tomorrow how we do that, but make sure you register for that training. Last thing is, I really want to congratulate the 2 most recent entries into the 100 Club. So if you're not familiar with the GovCon in a Box site, go check it out. But in there, we provide small businesses a visibility score. And that score goes from 0 to 100. So 100 is the very best visibility score to federal buyers. There's 358,000 companies, give or take, inside of DSBS. These are small businesses selling to the federal government or registered to sell to the federal government, and they're active right now. Only these 12 companies have a 100-point score, right? Only these guys are in the 100 Club, and Vicentric and Backer Technologies are the ones that are in there. And by the way, if you two are in my training today, tell me how to pronounce your company name the right way. You know, is it Vicentric or Vicentric? Is it Backer or B-A-K-R? I want to make sure when I'm saying companies' names, I got it pretty good. Tiger Team Engineering. That's pretty easy for me to do. But welcome to the 100 Club for these 2 newest folks. Okay, let's dive into the myths. And the biggest myth, right, is that AI solutions out there are going to replace proposal managers. And like I said, spoiler alert, it's not. But there are some myths that people talk about that even those need to be a little bit dispelled. So we just level set our understanding of AI, how it fits, and the value of proposal managers. So the first one I put here is AI can write faster than proposal managers. And I would say that's not actually true, because what they write then has to be rewritten or reviewed by somebody else. And if they were the ones writing it in the first place, they might have been able to go toe to toe. I'm literally going against my own tool where I'm writing without the tool, and my colleagues are using the tool to write proposals. And I'm like, let's see who can write a better proposal and faster. But the truth about writing faster is it's not just about getting words to paper. It's about understanding the depth of that RFP or that requirement and the nuances that are in there. And a proposal manager can really drive to that point, right, and understand it, which makes them faster because AI just doesn't have that ability to do it right now. And at some point, it really won't. And I think I'll talk about this a lot, but AI is pretty much locked into parameters. The next thing is AI can fully shred an RFP. This is kind of a myth. It really doesn't fully shred an RFP. What it does is goes to the very most obvious areas, like it can go to scope and then see task area, task area, task area, task area. It's like, sure, it can shred that. It can look for shall statements and all these different kind of things. But there's a lot of subtleties and inside of an RFP or inside a requirement that the program office and the other people within an agency put into those requirement documents. So those subtleties can be missed by the AI, and that's part of the shredding process. And the context, how does this one fit with this one? Or how does this requirement fit with a broader agency scope? I teach people how to do requirement shredding. In fact, tomorrow I'll show it a little bit right in the training. And what I'm able to do is to show people, if you just watch me in a recording, a raw recording, I show how I look at this and I go, wait, this thing means this, but I saw this earlier, right? The AI is not doing that. That comes from experience. That comes from that $500 an hour proposal manager. By the way, you can't hire me to be a proposal manager. That's not my world. I just write proposals, but I'm not the president of the proposal writing club. Okay, AI will cut costs by eliminating the needs for proposal managers. I've actually seen this one out there, and it just doesn't make any sense at all because anybody who understands this would think that a tool can replace a human. And when it comes to these knowledge worker type skills, that's just impossible. It is possible when it comes to a person who puts a tire on a car on a factory floor. You can get a robot to do that. Tesla can show you that, where their entire factory floor is managed by robots, right? Or AI. That totally can happen. But when you talk about really trying to understand why a proposal manager will never be eliminated, I'm going to lay out a bunch of reasons on the next slide. But you're not going to cut the cost of the proposal manager. What you're going to do is elevate the expectation of your proposal manager and the ability for them to contribute to the win. And the last bullet I have here is AI can write winning proposals. They can't. AI does not write winning proposals. At best, AI might write a compliant proposal where it can look in and say, well, the proposal should be this many pages and this size font and cover down on these shall statements, right? But a winning proposal is an art. It's not a science. So a winning proposal, there's a lot that comes with the experience that a proposal manager will bring to it. what I like to say is AI is no different than that intern that you have, or even just somebody on your team who are like, hey, we got this opportunity, go write a proposal. And I've seen this literally in 𝗚𝗢𝗩𝗦 and other places inside, watching them do this. That's all you're doing. They take previous proposals, they'll cut and paste, and you might be familiar with this, and throw it into a new proposal and go, that's where we're starting, which is the worst thing in my mind that you could ever do, because now all you're doing is editing junk instead of having a clear piece of paper and putting clear new ideas, referencing the old stuff, but not cutting and pasting, because now you're just in this editing mode and nowhere did you actually think about the creating mode, the really understanding it. But it's totally okay that an intern might do that if that's the process. And when you look to the AI proposal writing tools of today, that's basically what they're doing. Don't have a high expectation of them to write a winning proposal that'll go out the door. The other thing to keep in mind is that the government is putting out all these, they're really confused at the moment, to be fair, but they're putting out all these different messages about, hey, if we think you're writing with AI, your proposal's out. I'm like, good luck with that. But another one that I've seen is they're using AI tools themselves to manage or to review the proposal responses that are coming in to see if there's duplicate language in this proposal and this one. So they're going to start watching it. And the whole point is, if you're truly trying to write a winning proposal, your proposal won't look like anybody else's because it's your version of what is a winning proposal. So AIs can't write a winning proposal. I have this box over to the right-hand side, Sistine Chapel feeling or smell. And one of my favorite movies is Good Will Hunting. And there's this scene out on a park bench while Robin Williams and Matt Damon's characters are sitting there and they're talking. And Robin Williams basically says to Matt Damon, look, if I asked you about art, you could probably tell me, oh, by the way, just in context, if you don't know the movie, Matt Damon is this brilliant genius, knows everything, can read every single book and memorize it, but he's never been anywhere. And so Robin Williams' character is saying, hey, if I asked you about art, I bet you could tell me everything about Picasso or Michelangelo or anybody. But if I asked you, what does it feel like to be in the Sistine Chapel? What does it smell like? You couldn't tell me anything. And to me, that's kind of like an AI and proposal managers. AI will be able to tell you every little detail about the Sistine Chapel, but only proposal managers are going to tell you what it feels like to be in the Sistine Chapel, to inspire you to want to go there. Okay, let's talk about the value of proposal managers to government contractors. And this is really where I'm talking about, as you start thinking about $500 an hour for proposal managers, that's well worth it when you got a proposal manager that delivers on this page and the next page. So the first one that I put, and these are in no particular order that I have, the first one that I have here is proposal managers can guide the capture effort. If you're familiar with software development, there's something called DevOps, where you have developers and operations. And so developers build an application, and in the old days, threw it over a wall to operations, who would then install it and try to get the users to use it and all that kind of stuff. And there was all these problems, and we solved it with DevOps saying, hey, let's have the operation people engaged at the very earliest part of development, giving feedback to the developers, and let's have the developers live with the product all the way till user satisfaction kind of thing. So we blended those two together. And in proposals, and opportunities that are in your sales pipeline, it's a similar thing. You've got BD, capture, and proposal. For small businesses, it probably is the same person. But getting the proposal managers back engaged with the salespeople, BD and capture, they can influence that capture activity by saying, hey, I'm going to be thinking about this when I'm writing it. Why don't you think about it when you're out talking to the customer? The second one is a huge one that proposal managers bring that AI could never bring, is historical and institutional knowledge. So historical knowledge is, think about years. I've been with this company 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. I've been at this activity myself in government contracting 25 years. I have historical knowledge, right? I don't know everything, but one thing that historical knowledge brings is this understanding of what used to be done and how we went from here to here to here. AI is never going to have that, right? It doesn't make AI bad. It makes proposal managers better. And then institutional knowledge. It's this understanding of our company. We're trying to write a proposal and get it out there. And an AI is pretty dependent on whatever we put in to the tool, whatever we feed it. But a proposal manager goes, you know what? I was talking with Sally the other day when we were out having a beer at the ball game and blah, 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 right? They've got this institutional knowledge both from their company, like if you work in a small business or if you work at 𝗚𝗢𝗩𝗦, or if you work at agencies. So they've got all that institutional knowledge that helps them really put things in context. Another reason proposal managers are valuable is this vast network they have. Proposal managers are people. Funny that. They go out, they talk to people. They talk to people in the hallway. They have an internal network of people who are doing, and if you're a really small company, this is a little foreign since it's all of us, right? But as we grow to 10 people, 50 people, 100 people, right? That internal network you build where you understand not just the people who can help you with pricing on a proposal and staffing, the recruiting things, but also the ability to go talk to the services, the people doing the service delivery on existing contracts and going in and talking about it. How's it going? Understanding stuff. That's something AI can never bring, but a proposal manager who has those relationships can. And of course, they have external relationships, and I'll talk more about that in a minute. But this ability to find people outside the company that can help them with the proposal, making sure it's a winning proposal. Creative problem solving is a huge thing. I talk about subtleties and nuances and complexities within a requirement or an RFP. Well, a proposal manager who's worth their salt has the ability to think outside the box, right? The government is not looking for satisfactory. The government is looking for you to bring exceptional solutions, exceptional ways of addressing their needs. The government might be talking about this, and this goes to my next point, but a proposal manager can understand the implied needs. This is what I meant when I said AI can write a compliant proposal. A compliant proposal is looking at all the explicitly stated thou shalt, right? That's an explicit need that is being stated. And AI can look at that and cover down pretty well on that. But a proposal manager can look at this and understand the implied needs, the why of it, which goes into my next bullet, right? And a proposal manager's value is the ability to ask why over and over again. Why is that important? Why are you doing that? Well, why that, right? And AI, even if it did that exercise, it would be all conceptual. But when a proposal manager with institutional and historical knowledge sits there and says, well, why this? Well, because of this. Well, why this? And we might look at their answers and go, why isn't that in the AI tool? Well, because it's really hard to predict what to put in there if it's not sitting in a document library we can dump it over. So the last one I had here is the value of a proposal manager. And I was thinking about this with my sons who are 10 right now, and they're going to get bigger than me. They'll definitely be much larger than me, and one of them is really, really big. But the difference is for a short period of time, they're going to be bigger, but they're going to have young muscles compared to my old muscles, right? And not just old guy muscles, but I'm very comfortable with my muscles. I'm smart enough to know that I won't be able to, wrestle with them muscle to muscle, and so I'll know what to do. AI is young muscles. It's got a lot of muscles, a lot of potential. It's the future of the world, but right now it doesn't know what to do with those muscles. And a $500 an hour proposal manager has an awareness of their muscles, and they know, in this case, what to do beyond the RFP, right? To see outside of that requirements document, et cetera, and go, how can I use my muscles to really turn our response into a winning response? Okay, so let's talk about that $500 an hour proposal manager. And by the way, I don't say that as a joke. Lawyers charge that much. Why? They're often just, no offense, lawyers, but they're often just going to previous documents and bringing it out. Lawyers are more like AI than a proposal manager. A proposal manager has to be creative, where a lawyer really is compliant. But lawyers, we pay them, or accountants, high dollar value. Proposal managers should be the same way. It's not sustainable if you hire them on full-time on salary, because that's $1 million plus cost. But if you're paying them $500 an hour for the very top skills, then you're really going to get your value from these proposal managers, and I think they're worth it. So I put a couple of examples of what you should expect proposal managers to be doing at this level, and doing it phenomenally, not kind of doing it, right? And if they're junior, that's fine. Just charge $250 and work your way up. But the first thing is really from that institutional and historical knowledge, being able to perform what I call an honest SWOT analysis. SWOT stands for strength, weakness, opportunity, and threats. And the idea is, let's just stick with strength and weakness for one particular second, is looking at the weaknesses. This makes sure too many capture managers and BD people, which is where I live more, we're too optimistic. Oh, we can do everything. But a good proposal manager is not going to discourage us on the opportunity, but they'll be able to do an honest SWOT. So we truly understand our weaknesses and our threats from our competitors, perhaps, and understand how we can sit there and cover down. Through that analysis, they will give us a gap analysis or a set of recommendations in that analysis that tell us what to do. And so that's a major task that they should be doing. Well, AI can't do that. AI will look in and go, these are things you should do. But a experienced proposal manager will know this, and they will be really honest in it, which helps us go to the next stage, which is I put down win strategy. And there's two things: win strategy, win theme, and they're different. And I'll talk about them. But a win strategy for me is overall. So remember I said DevOps, or this idea of proposal managers getting engaged with the sales lifecycle much earlier and spend minimal amount of time, but they bring that expertise early on. And then the capture and the salespeople kind of keep it going forward. Well, when we think about a win strategy, that's what a proposal manager should be doing. How are we looking at this? How are we going to win it? A capture manager has one level of activity, and different companies put different responsibilities. But the final step in the sales lifecycle is that proposal response going out the door. And that proposal manager at that point begins to own it more and more. And so they work together with the capture manager to create that win strategy that says, hey, this is the right opportunity and this is how we're going to win it. The third one, that major task that $500 proposal manager should do, is determine a win theme that's going to work to ensure that the customer gets what you think the win theme is. Win theme is really, it's an entire training, multiple trainings. And I can't wait to do that because I have a lot of ideas on it and a lot of recommendations from other people that I have talked to and interviewed about this and brought it in. But one example of a win theme that works for me, especially my last company, but I could do this even now, is I might say the win theme is that I want throughout the entire response, the entire proposal, on every page for the customer to get this feeling that, man, they get it. They're going to do a great job. It's like, yes, that's kind of the win theme, right? It's a loose win theme. I want the win theme to be, yeah, like, and it's very hard when you just have those couple of words. But if I tell you what it is, like if I'm doing SharePoint and I want them to see me as an expert throughout, the win theme symbol of it is, yeah, this is great. I want them to turn a page where I'm talking about SharePoint migration. They're like, yeah, no, that totally makes sense, right? What's next? And this kind of goes into compelling a little bit too, but then they go to the next one. Oh, I hadn't thought of that. That's a perfect idea. And they move to the next one. And throughout that, there's this win theme where they go, this company gets it, right? And you might do a win theme that's totally different. Win themes can come from all sorts of different angles, but that's an example of one that I might do. But my point is, it is one of the hardest things to do. And the only reason I can do it is because that's the work I used to do. But it'd be hard for me to do your win theme. A $500 an hour proposal manager is going to help you figure out that win theme that'll work, that'll make the customer see what you want them to see every single page. The second to last one here, building a winning team. This is what a proposal manager can help with. A bigger company with more people, they have a capture manager, might help with it. But proposal managers know people as well. They're the ones who coordinate all the activity anyways. And so they begin to, with their network, be able to contribute to that winning team, not just people on your team for the sake of being on it, but people who can truly cover down on the SWOT analysis and fill in your gaps. The last one I wrote here was bring a compelling and convincing message. AI can cover down on perhaps clear and concise, or clear and compliant in a proposal, but a proposal must be clear, compliant, compelling, and convincing in order to win. And so proposal managers can really, remember I said, yeah, I like that. That's the compelling. The convincing is where we're telling stories about we have done this before, not just in the past performance section, but with stories woven through. And so this compelling, convincing message is what proposal managers can really bring to the table. All right, so here's what I want you to remember as we wrap up the training. First off, AI is great. I'm super excited about it. I use it every single day, but it's not a replacement for proposal managers. Certainly not a replacement for great proposal managers who deserve to be paid $500 an hour. The second thing is I really want you to understand that we need to start valuing proposal managers more, at least on the same payment level as lawyers, right? These people are helping us bring revenue in. And so them beginning to elevate their game above even the AI is a huge advantage to your company. And so understand that value. And the last thing is just remember the proposal is just one part of the win. I talk about volleyball. It has 25 points or whatever to win a game. I always say you didn't lose the game on the last point. You lost it on the first point. And in sales lifecycle, it's the same thing. You don't win or lose on a proposal. It's the entire life cycle. And if we all join together, we'll all be contributing to that proposal and supporting that proposal manager. Hey, if you found value in this and you're looking for us to support your company getting to the next level, plus you're doing over $1 million. I don't want your money if you're not doing over $1 million. Consider joining our BD Accelerator workshop. You just put workshop in the chat, and this is for companies doing over $1 million who are looking for help accelerating to the next level in their business growth. For the rest of us, just remember, government contracting, it's not a secret. It's just a process. I'll see you in the next training.